Hey, game changers. Happy 2025. Welcome back. I hope you had an incredible New Year's, Christmas, holidays, the whole shebang. I hope it was awesome. You know, so many people set New Year's resolutions. So many people set goals for themselves, both as they step into a new year, personally, professionally. And you know, we all know the data around New Year's resolutions, and it breaks my heart, right? That like over 90% of people that set New Year's resolutions don't achieve them, and it breaks my heart. And I want to flip this percentage. I want 90% of the people who set them to achieve them. I want 90% or more of people who set goals to achieve those, regardless of the time of year, candidly. Because you know how you feel when you set a goal, right? Like you're so pumped about it. You tell people about it. You're excited. You've potentially sat down, really thought through it. You've thought about how excited you will be when you do this. And I want you to hit them. I want the people that you love and care about to hit them. I want the people that you work with. I want the people that you know and love who set goals and New Year's resolutions. I want them to hit them faster than they ever thought they could, better. And I want them to enjoy it. I want all of us to enjoy it. But here's the problem. Setting goals in isolation, that's the big problem. That's the problem. It isn't sustainable. See, what often happens is we set a goal, we set a New Year's resolution, but then it gets hard, right? Certainly it gets hard. It gets hard. And we get back into maybe a different routine. We find ourselves maybe in a different environment. Maybe we go through something that is hard. And so what happens is it's a whole lot easier when it gets hard to just step back into what we know. And so we set these goals, we put them on a wall, on a mirror, we write them on a whiteboard, we make them our screensaver, and we see them consistently. And we're excited about them, and we want to hit them. But the problem is they will get hard. And the other problem is the motivation to achieve those very well-intended goals will fade. I mean, it happens to me all the time. It happens to so many of us, doesn't it? And so let me pull this forward with an example. Let's say you want to lose weight. Let's say that's a pretty common New Year's resolution, isn't it? For a lot of people, they want to lose weight. So let's say you want to lose weight and you say, look, I mean, my pants are getting too tight. I mean, I ate too much over the holidays, right? The food's everywhere. I mean, we all know the drill, don't we? My husband, my wife, they're nagging me like crazy. You know, you're out of breath when you go for a walk with your kids. Your knees hurt. I mean, whatever it is, right? So you want to lose weight. That is a goal, a New Year's resolution. You've written it down. And you've identified that to be one of your goals. And so, you know, the really traditional approach would be to say, hey, cool, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose this weight. And so maybe you go on a diet. Maybe you go get a weight tracker app, maybe a calorie tracker app. And you go into the pantry, you throw out all the bad stuff. You know, maybe you grab somebody, a friend or your partner or spouse in life and you say, gosh, you know, can you hold me accountable, which is awesome. But like I said before, it's going to get hard and the motivation will start to fade. The nagging spouse is not maybe around you as much after the holidays, grinding you to lose weight. You're back doing a little bit of travel maybe for work. Maybe the kids are back in school. They're not saying, Mommy, what are you doing? Remember your New Year's resolution goal? You know, there's still some leftover cookies in the freezer. That happened to me last night. My mom's incredible frosted cookies are in the freezer. You go to the grocery store, you know, maybe, I mean, let's say you're having a little success. I mean, you've kind of been pretty good. You've been doing a good job. You're feeling good about like the workout, whatever that the new routine that you've packed, that you've unlocked, you're stepping in. You're feeling kind of good about it. So you're in the grocery store. You grab the bag of cookies that you always used to just crush and love, but you're just gonna have two of them. Like you're just no big deal. I'm gonna have one or two a night, and then like the bag of cookies is gone in 2 days, right? We've been there. And here's the thing, right? Like goals are hard. New Year's resolutions are hard to achieve, and they're even harder to achieve when we aren't setting ourselves up for success. And so that's what I want to unpack for you in a way that I know you can lay over top of your world right now, and it can help you. It can help you have success with New Year's resolutions. It can help you have success with other goals that you may have set. So let me, I love stories, so I'm going to hit you with a story. So pretend I'm in Atlanta. So pretend I laid a plank over top of 2 high-rise buildings in Atlanta, in downtown Atlanta. It's kind of a chilly day, right? It's a little windy. Let's say the plank is about 1.5 inches thick and 1.5 feet wide. Let's say the buildings are about 500 feet apart, 1,000 feet high. No net underneath this plank. Let's say that, when you get to the middle of the plank, right? I mean, the wind is right there. It's, the plank dips a little bit in the middle, right? All that. And let's pretend that there's an 80% chance stat-wise that you make it across the plank. And let's pretend that there's a 20% chance that you don't. So, here's the thing. I sometimes will share this story when I am speaking in an audience, and here's what always happens. And so I want you to stay with me here. I'll say, for example, so stay with me here. Hey, how many people in the room would walk across the plank to the other side for $1 million? A couple hands go up. Let's say how many would walk across for $5 million? A couple more hands go up, right? In a room of thousands of people. And then often I'll say, hey, what happens if the most important people in your life are on the other side of that plank? And the absolute only way that you can save the most important people in your life is if you crawl across that plank to the other side. Every single hand goes up before I can even finish the sentence. Like it's clockwork. Now, here's the thing. The why around the hard is so clear. The why around the wind and the dip and the cold when you're in the middle of that plank and you look up and you know why you're grinding through it, you keep going. When you don't know why you're grinding through it, you don't know why you're putting potentially your life on the line, you don't know why you're slithering across this dipping plank with your life at risk, when you don't know why, guess what? You'll turn around and crawl back to the other side. And that's what happens so often when we set our goals. If we don't know why, like really why, the purpose behind it, then it's so much easier to just crawl back to the familiar. But what if you had a goal and then when it got hard, when it got windy, when it dipped, when you were questioning the hard, what if then you looked up and, to use the analogy, you saw the why? You saw the people on the other side of that plank, and you can't even wait to take the next step toward them, toward the goal, because you know why. It's anchored, it's substantive, it's meaty, it's got soul to it, right? So do me a favor, pull out your New Year's resolutions, pull out your goals, and anchor them with a really, really clear and deep and substantive, meaty purpose to achieve them. A why to keep going when it gets hard, because it will. A why to keep going when the motivation wanes. What's the people? Who's the people? The thing, the emotion that keeps you crawling across that plank toward that goal. What's the why? Because we know that it will get hard. We know that we're not always going to feel like doing hard. But if we know why, man, hard is easy. And here's the other thing that I think is critical. As I said, right, the motivation wanes. We have a chemical in our brains that we produce all the time called dopamine. Dopamine is so closely linked to our sense of motivation, and it is accessible to every one of us, all of us. Dopamine affects how capable we believe we are. Dopamine is so involved in our ability to stay in the pursuit of an outcome. And our brain releases dopamine when we acknowledge our progress. So you're crawling across that plank. It's windy, it's hard, and you just take a hot second and you acknowledge the progress that you've made so far across that plank. You acknowledge that, and you drip a little bit of dopamine. So what I mean by this is that as we continue to make progress toward our New Year's resolution, our goal, pause and say, hey, I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm heading in the right direction. I'm headed in the right direction. I'm doing a pretty good job. Celebrate the little moments of success. And that literally physically drips dopamine, and that dopamine keeps you going when the motivation wanes, which, I had a dear friend, and one of her New Year's resolutions is to lose weight. And so I said to her, why do you want to lose weight? And she's like, looks at me like I'm crazy. And she goes, girl, like, have you seen my butt? And I'm like, she goes, I want to get back in those jeans I was wearing this summer. And I go, okay, cool. I go, why else? She goes, I want to look better. I go, right, like, why else? And I kept going, I kept digging. And then she looked up at me with literally tears in her eyes. She's a single mom. And she said, because I want to be healthy enough to walk my daughter down the aisle because she doesn't have a father. Whew. Man, that is a why that'll keep you going. That is a why that'll keep you going. We got to anchor our pursuits in a deep and meaningful, emotionally substantive why. So celebrate the small wins along the journey toward your New Year's resolutions. And now your New Year's resolutions can have some soul, some meat, some teeth in it as you continue that pursuit. Let's crush 2025 together. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend, a family member, either yourself, or share this episode. And remember, as always, so much of what I have shared here right now is part of my why for writing Dynamic Drive, which is all about our pursuit of outcomes in our lives anchored in the red thread of a deeper purpose, anchored in the dopamine effect, anchored in an inside-out approach to our pursuits in our lives. Happy New Year, and we'll be talking soon. Big hugs.